Okay, let's move on to the best movie from today's show. I thought you were going to say something there, but okay.
Yeah, see, I was just going to make it awkward and not say anything.
Well, we've got Terminator 2 Judgment Day from 1991. So obviously this is a sequel to the original. A cyborg, identical to the one who failed to kill Sarah Connor in the original movie, has been sent back in time, but this time to protect her teenage son from a much more advanced and powerful machine. Sorry, I just got a cramp. Just give me 20 seconds.
Of course.
Oh, man.
So the first Terminator movie...
Did you want to say something?
I was just going to talk about my relationship with the series a little bit to give you a little breathing room.
Oh man. Hamstring cramp.
This is why you should drink your liquids, Jordan.
Oh shit! I just sat back down and immediately it just got way worse. Oh man.
You know, it's unfortunate because sometimes you just can't find the right position.
Fucking Terminator 2 giving me fucking cramps. Oh.
That's how awesome the movie is.
Yeah, it's like you can literally feel the action. Oh shit.
This could be its own video.
Shit.
Anyhow,
Not this again. I spit on your grave. So I guess Terminator has constant rape.
well, in a way, Arnold Schwarzenegger did rape us with his eyes, so...
Well, depending on what version you watched, he may have raped you with his smile. Did you watch the version where he smiles in this movie?
I think he smiled once, maybe.
There's a scene, like halfway through the movie when they're kind of traveling to, what is it, Mexico or something? And they stop at this, I don't know if it was a gas station or a takeaway joint, and he's trying to teach the Terminator some, how to be more human, and it's like, you should smile, and he looks at this guy speaking on a payphone who's kind of got this weird smile on his face, so then he tries to emulate it, and it just looks, well, not creepy, but retarded.
It sounds like I did not see that scene. I'm just quickly looking up.
Well, it's probably worth mentioning there's a few different versions of the movie, and, I mean, there's a theatrical cut, which is possibly what you've watched. Then there's a couple of different kind of longer versions. I don't think you miss out on too much, but, there's extra scenes that, if you really enjoy the movie, you'll definitely want to see the extra scenes, but let's see if I can sit back down without cramping up again. Whew. Okay. Okay, I don't even know where I was. I just started talking about the movie, just random stuff.
Yeah, how many times have you seen this one?
How long's a piece of string?
Depends on how long the string is.
I don't know.
It's a pretty short piece of string.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but it's easily over 20 times, I would say. I first saw this movie at a family, kind of like a family barbecue type thing. We'd have these huge family get-togethers, and it was over like 50 people there, and then so a few people would kind of retreat to certain areas. So I was one of those people who'd just retreat to the living room, watch whatever people are watching on TV. And Terminator 2 was starting, so I was like, okay, I'll watch this. I don't know what age I was. I was probably, I don't know, 9, maybe.
Had you already seen the first Terminator?
I saw the first one somewhere around then, but I may not have seen it until after. I'm not 100% sure. But what I am 100% sure of is that this is a better movie than the first movie. And the first movie's still pretty good as well. What did you think of the movie? Because I know you only saw the first Terminator, what was it, a few weeks back or a month or two ago?
Yeah, whenever we did the first one. And I actually saw this movie for the first time earlier today. It's pretty good. That's all I've got.
Did you enjoy it more or less or the same as the original?
Yeah, I do think it's probably about the movie. They had some pretty good action scenes here. Of course, the Andy in the scientific facility lab type. That's a fantastic scene. Schwarzenegger with them, minigun, shooting at other vehicles. That's some good stuff. I also like the Mental Institution breakout. That was also quite a bit of fun. And I actually had no idea that Robert Patrick was in this movie until I started watching it. That's how little I know about this series.
This is like his... I don't know if it was his first movie, but it was definitely the first movie where, people heard of who he is.
Yeah, and it sort of like struck me by, somewhat surprise. Very recognizable face, obviously. He played a pretty...
I thought you were going to say recognizable ass from the early scene.
No. 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 So that was sort of a nice surprise. Overall, it's just a pretty solid action movie. I don't know if it's significantly... Well, let me rephrase. I don't know if I liked it significantly more than the first one, but I do know I liked it more. So, it's just a good movie. It has a pretty decent plot. One thing I liked about this movie is one of my, I guess, questions about the events of the first movie are sort of answered in this one. So I sort of liked that. There's some foresight on my part.
Yeah, it's a pretty detailed story, and considering how detailed it is, it doesn't have... Well, I'm sure you could argue back and forth, there's maybe a little plot hole here and there. I don't think there's any obvious plot holes in this very detailed type of story, which is, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I do think the way that they use time travel is sort of interesting, because, and I know that time travel is done in so many different ways, in different medias. There's like so many different ways they do it. But, after they, I'm assuming most people have seen this, so there might be a few spoiler type things, but after they sort of get rid of everything from the Terminators, sort of ending the whole Skynet thing, hoping that thing won't come to pass later on. You would think that, I don't know, some of the stuff would just, I don't know, like, then they wouldn't be able to send anything back. So it's sort of almost like a paradox type thing. But, it's just an interesting time travel thing. That's all I had.
And I would have thought, this would probably be a little more enjoyable, just because Robert Patrick's character, he does have some, like, slasher type qualities to him, since he can kind of transform into kind of like stabbing weapons and things like that. There's scenes where he's, what do you call it, like kind of impaled someone against a wall through their mouth. There's well, the first movie also had horror elements. This one does too, but in a different way. Even though it's still, first and foremost, it's an action sci-fi movie. But yeah, it's a lot of people out there would say this is possibly the greatest action movie of all time. Even though it's not the highest rated action movie that I give, I certainly wouldn't argue that.
Yeah, this might give me some hate, but I'm more of like a Die Hard guy.
Get the fuck out.
I know. Die Hard, in my opinion, is like probably one of the cleanest, one of the best action movies, pure action movies out there. But plus, who doesn't like Bruce Willis? But this movie is so decent. I think what gives this movie a little a little stronger feeling was the Terminator's sort of growing relationship with John Connor. He never really became exactly human, but I mean, you could definitely tell there was a connection forming, even though some of the stuff was a little corny, like the high fives type stuff, and you're just teaching him like slang from this modern day. Just a bit much, but it's so nice to see a little growing relationship with the random voiceover from Sarah Connor. Oh, he's like a father now.
Yeah, when this movie was kind of more of a new release, I remember a lot of people at school who had seen it. Some of them admitted they cried at the ending, and when.
Yeah, it did not hit me that strongly.
But I know there's a lot of people out there who did, so I'd say I never shed a tear, but I kind of got close.
This may be a movie that you've never seen, but when I was a kid, there was a movie released in the late 90s, an animated cartoon movie called The Iron Giant. It's probably one of the best kid animated movies made. And that's a movie I've seen so many times, and a lot of this actually reminded me of the Iron Giant. Just trying to teach this robot to be more human, and it sort of cracked me up. But I would say that movie is probably more touching to me than this one was. But like I said, this movie still has some pretty emotional scenes at times. And I also want to give a shout out to the Black Doctor guy. I forget what his name, Miles Dyson. Once he's like meet up with him, I mean he almost gets killed, but they explain what's going on, and he's like, "Oh hey, I feel bad about this," and like immediately jumps into help. So no, I appreciated that.
I will just say that I really enjoy it. I think it is one of the best action movies out there. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I considered giving it a 10 out of 10 just because I think it is possibly the best action movie out there, but I just don't enjoy it still on the same level as other movies that I give 10 out of 10 to, so I feel pretty good giving this a 9.
Yeah, I forget the exact rating I gave the first movie.
You gave it an 8.
Okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's what my IMDb rating is. So yeah, this movie, like I said, I enjoyed it a bit more. It's not like I enjoyed it a whole lot more than the first one, but it was a pretty fun ride. I like the helicopter chase scene. There's just a lot of fun actiony scenes here. Oh, actually, this is one thing I wanted to mention that just came to me. One thing that bugged the hell out of me was how everybody, including the Terminator himself, was so concerned with firearms. But I mean, you can shoot this thing like trillion times, it doesn't do shit. Like, I get that you maybe get like a split second of, hey, he's like backing up, but I mean, it like the firearms is like one of the most useless things. It's just like you're acting like you're doing something and you're not doing anything, but just run away, you'll be probably bad off. And so that sort of bothered me. Like, I don't see why they made all the fuss about, hey, we have to have guns and stuff, because it didn't do anything. But
like I said, it slows them down a little bit, and I mean, there's certain scenes where you just need that extra couple of seconds. Like, for instance, the scene where they're in a mental institution and they're escaping there, and he's chasing them into the elevator. Shooting him a few times prevented him from getting into the elevator. Let's put it that way. It gave them enough time to run into it.
Yeah, it seemed to me more ineffective than anything. But it's not like that. I'm still giving this one an 8.5, and I'm probably going to round that down to an 8. But it's so a decent movie. It's not my favorite movie of all time, and maybe if I had seen it when I was younger, it might change a bit, but it's still a pretty good movie. I suspect, though I've not seen any of the other Terminator movies, I suspect it's probably going to be one of the best ones in the series, mainly because I can't imagine how any of the movies that came out after this one could really compete. But maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised with one of the future ones. And I suspect over the course of like the next few years, I'll probably see all of them. So
I don't know. I think part three gets some mixed feelings, but I think part three is pretty decent as well. I think it's a fun movie that not as good as the second. It's about as enjoyable as the first for me. I know other people out there are going to be like no, but they need to chill out.
yeah, I'll say one thing I am interested in about this series because, like I said, I know next to nothing about this. Is where the movies are going to be going in the future. Like, is something else going to come to the past and define John Connor as an adult before the bomb? Like, I just know where it's going. So, I'm curious. Hopefully, does it go off the rails? Though I suspect maybe at some point, to some extent, it will. But no, at least it keeps me wondering. So, I guess that's a positive thing.